The Pollution Prevention Act is unique when compared to the other major environmental laws. Rather than regulating and permitting emissions, such as done by the Clean Water Act or the Clean Air Act, or issuing detailed compliance instructions such as the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act, the Pollution Prevention Act established policy to reduce and, where feasible, eliminate pollution. The goal of the Pollution Prevention Act was to focus on the source of the pollutant rather than treating the pollutant after it was generated. This end of the pipe treatment is costly and inefficient. Congress wanted to move the focus from treatment and disposal of the pollutants to preventing their production. The Pollution Prevention Act was approved by Congress in 1990 and put forward the goal of pollution prevention. By 1990, laws governing the pollution of water, groundwater, ground surfaces, air, and the remediation of contaminated sites were well established. It was now time to address the source of these pollutants. And what is waste, air emissions, or water discharges but a product of inefficiency? The most efficient processes have the least amount of waste. They use most of the raw materials. The Pollution Prevention Act established a hierarchy on pollution reduction. Prevention of pollution is the highest tier. When it cannot be prevented, it should be recycled. Lastly, if unable to prevent or recycle, the pollutant should be treated, rendering it less or non-toxic, and then properly disposed. So, how is pollution prevention accomplished? To get started, our review of the polluting process should be conducted. What are the inputs to the process? Chemicals, energy use, machines, facilities, people, and what are the outputs? Air emissions, wastewater discharges, solid waste, and of course, the end product. Can fewer amounts of chemicals be used? Are there safer, less toxic chemicals that can accomplish the task? Can less energy be used to make the product? Is there training for employees to increase their skills to be more efficient and create less waste? It is always a good idea to obtain input from the employees who operate the equipment that creates the pollution and ask them how the system really operates and what ideas for improvement they may offer. The Pollution Prevention Act is not a regulation where there are compliance inspections typical of the other EPA regulations. One of the few directives in the Pollution Prevention Act requires waste generators to sign a statement for each waste shipment that testifies the generator has a program in place to reduce and prevent pollution. The Pollution Prevention Act is often implemented by executive orders, EOs, and each president since its passage has issued at least one executive order to carry out the intent of the Pollution Prevention Act. The EOs address activities such as the purchase of environmentally preferred products and services, set goals for recycling, energy efficiency, and water conservation. In 1990, the EPA developed the Pollution Prevention Program Strategic Plan. This plan established 5 goals. Goal 1, reduce the generation of greenhouse gas emissions to mitigate climate change. Goal 2, reduce the manufacture and use of hazardous materials to improve human and ecological health. Goal 3, reduce the use of water and conserve other natural resources to protect ecosystems. Goal 4, create business efficiencies that derive economic benefits and improve environmental performance. And Goal 5, institutionalize and integrate pollution prevention practices through government services, policy, and initiatives. The EPA touts pollution prevention as a keystone to sustainability. The EPA is harnessing its authority through the Office of Pollution Prevention and Toxics to promote and help industry implement these goals. It's through the authority vested by the Pollution Prevention Act that the EPA develops and pursues these goals. Pollution prevention is an ongoing process. The Pollution Prevention Act is more cooperative than other environmental regulations, and the EPA plays a role as a provider of services as opposed to an overseer.